Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 2:00. Any public or committee comments? Okay, seeing none. Move to item 3, surplus vehicles equipment list.
Yeah, we're just adding 2 vehicles. We finally got the flatbed replacement truck in, which has been coming for 30 days now for over a year. So we're gonna add that to the surplus list and we'll send that out to the papers in the next couple weeks. But we just wanted to add these 2 onto that list.
When you say surplus, does that mean we don't need them anymore, or we don't use them anymore, or we're gonna replace them?
They've been replaced.
They've been replaced,
Yeah.
okay.
And these are both 2008 and 2009, and they're 450, so they don't meet California emissions.
Well, that was one of the things I was thinking is that it no longer did, so
hard
we
compliant.
had to replace them, but, so now they really are surplus regardless of how old they are. But is anybody gonna want them?
I'm sure they will.
We do have the opportunity to use these as trade-ins as well as if we're replacing vehicles. So with the next budget, we may use that. We typically would probably get more for a trade-in than if we surplus them. But
Possibly.
that
Well-
is one option.
Well, that's certainly reasonable to consider.
Either way, it needs to be surplused.
Is it just California that has this problem so that we could sell it out of state?
I believe so. This is a California Air Resource Board.
Yeah, I
requirements.
don't know about the vehicles specifically, but I know that when we sell like the generators and things of that nature, that you're not allowed to sell them out of state to try to bypass the California law. So, we can look. We can look.
Aren't there still buyers in Mexico that buy these used vehicles?
That would be out of state.
Out of country.
Yeah, and
Different
it is
laws.
pretty much just California, Stan, that has, there's a few other states, but
Okay.
other
Back east, probably.
states would want to look at the vehicles, I'm sure it'd be useful. Or somebody in California may want to buy the vehicle to use it for parts.
Or possibly even personal use, because I
Yeah.
think that's a fleet requirement rather than a individual use requirement.
But it depends on the size of the vehicle. Yeah. So, okay, any other comments or questions? Do we need an approval for that, or?
Yeah, recommendation.
Okay, so we'll just recommend to the board. Are you good with that, Stan?
I beg your pardon?
Are you good with recommending to the board to add those 2 to the list?
Oh, I'm sorry. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, well, then we will move on to item 4, the status of well 33.
All right, Director Rotora asked this be added to the agenda last month. Don't have a whole lot to report. It was taken offline because the GPM was plummeting pretty quickly. So, at this point, we're not sure what the cause is. We weren't in a hurry to pull it and take a look just because we have bigger fish to fry, other things going on and budgetary constraints. So, we're considering pulling the pump and having it inspected and seeing if it's an issue with the pump. And if it is, we might be able to use a pump we had rebuilt that came out of 34 several years back and use that pump in that well. So we're considering that. But as far as we could tell, we weren't seeing like an increase in sanding or anything like that, but just a decrease in the GPM coming out of the pump. So
In the highlights, did I read where we had already scheduled somebody to come and pull the pump and inspect it?
No, we haven't scheduled it. We're putting it off to the next fiscal year.
yeah, next fiscal year, Stan.
Okay.
Which is coming up pretty quick.
Pretty quickly. Next.
Yeah, we can get it scheduled here pretty soon, maybe or in the fall.
Okay. All right, any other comments on that? Okay. Item 5, Inyokern Road Transmission Line Update.
So Krieger and Stewart, along with staff, is actively working on putting together the bid documents as well as the application process for the DCIP grant. So we have a meeting with them on Thursday to see the status, and hopefully we'll get it filed no later than this week.
This week? No, next week.
Well, I'd like to see it this
The
week.
actual deadline is the 23rd.
The deadline's the 23rd. We're targeting Friday the 16th to have it all done.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
That's
And,
the, I was going to say,
Community collaborative meeting was this morning, which Captain Vaughn attends, along with John Kersey was there as well. And we did talk about this, and Captain Vaughn's very supportive. They're putting together a lengthy letter in support of getting this funding. He talked about some of the things, how the importance of the intertie, emergency intertie for the base, and he brought up something I hadn't really thought about, but the age of the infrastructure on the base and susceptibility, like during the earthquake, they did have some damage, and if that were to occur again, it could be critical to the base operation that they lose, or, they would need that water supply from the water district, so he's very supportive. And talking to both he and John Kersey after the meeting, I feel fairly confident. I mean, I can't feel 100%, but I feel pretty confident with the level of commitment that they have that we have a pretty good chance of getting that funding.
That'd be great.
I just was going to mention, just for anybody who might watch us in the future, it's the Defense Community Infrastructure Pilot Program Grant. So the projects have to be, shovel-ready, which they consider ready to begin construction within 12 months after award of the grant. So the grant would be awarded fairly quickly in August, with the contract wrapped up by the end of the federal fiscal year, by the end of September. So
Okay,
that would be great.
that'd be great. Any comments? No? Okay, thank you. Moving to item 6, booster station and tanks project update.
All right, the last tank, the one up at the college, has been constructed. The coaters are finishing up the last bit of their work. We have a state inspection scheduled for next week, the 14th. And hopefully soon after that, they'll be able to start the process of disinfecting and filling that tank. For the booster station, as you know, we've had delays in a lot of the equipment, but the boosters pumps themselves are scheduled to arrive tomorrow, which is good. We are still waiting on the MCC, which is still scheduled to arrive next month in July. So the contract completion is listed now to be in September. That's where we're at with that.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, arsenic treatment.
Plant 2 is operational. We've been pumping 10 on and off since we got 17 back in the game. We've been able to use it less, which is good for cost savings. The media for Plant 1, the support media, was delivered this morning, and we're scheduling with Pure Flow to come out. We were hoping next week, but apparently the whole company's in Canada. And so we're looking for the week following, so the week of the 19th, have them come out and we can put the support media in and then start putting the actual filter media on top of that and get that one back up and running. So hopefully July, we'll have them both up and running.
Okay, any questions or comments on the arsenic treatment? Okay, item 8, Stan's been waiting on this one, solar production.
Phase 1 of the solar projects had an actual May savings of $58,593 versus the guarantee of $53,033. And phase 2, being the well 35 site, had a savings of $2,514 versus a guarantee of $2,188. And I imagine the lower temperatures for this time of year is probably contributing to an increase in extra production. But it seems like everything's up and running as it should be.
Okay, any comments, questions?
I don't know if it's just because I just got solar or not, but it seems like we've had an awful lot of cloudy skies in the last 2 or 3 weeks that I don't recall being here on most years.
Like washing your car. You got solar, so there's no more clouds now.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Stan.
Well, it's
Definitely a lot
real
cooler
easy,
than
it's
normal.
real easy in watching your solar production when it goes behind a cloud. I mean, it's just clear as day. I mean, it's a spike that,
Drops.
yeah.
That's the way it is on my boat too, so. Okay, any other comments? Item 9, future agenda items. Okay, and we will adjourn at 2:11. Are we?